So welcome back to Light the Fuse, and we are at the end of 3April.
Yeah, it's sad.
Are you sad to see it go?
I am.
Well, I am too, and obviously I am Drew Taylor, and this is Charles Hood.
Hello.
And for the climax, I would say, of 3April, we've got a great interview to share with you guys.
Yes. Camera assistant Luke Allein, who worked on MI3. And he's got some really fun stories, some really great stuff. We connected with him on Twitter, and it was great to sit down with him and just hear about all this fun stuff.
Yeah, he was on all the domestic shooting for the movie, and
which was a majority of the shoot.
Yeah, that's the most of the shoot, and it's great. And we also want to remind you, just before we get into things, to go to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/LightTheFuse. You can subscribe. You can just throw us a couple of bucks. And we want to hear from you, too, as to what you want out of this content. So please make that known. And we would really appreciate it.
Yeah, you can always email us at lightthefusepodcast@gmail.com or talk to us on Twitter or Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere.
Yeah. But without further ado, let's get into this interview. All right. Well, here we are. We got a great guest today. Luke, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Luke Allein. I was a camera PA on Mission Impossible 3. Work for the camera department.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here. You guys got a great show, man. I love this show.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think we've had feedback from people where they say that they like to hear from all different aspects of filmmaking, that they like that we're covering all the different aspects. So it's nice to have someone here. And you've actually worked with Robert Elswit, who we've interviewed.
I did.
You worked with him on Red Belt, right?
Yeah, Red Belt and Men Who Start Goats a little bit, just like a couple days.
Yeah, but yeah, that's cool.
He's like we feel like he's kind of like the daddy of the show. People throw that term around a lot. We feel like he's...
How long had you been doing this before you got him?
Oh, not very long. Maybe 6 months or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's a good score. That's how I found out about it. You guys were on IMDb.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that's what I saw. There's a news board, like Robert Elswit on podcast, like says he won't work with Paul Thomas Anderson again. I was like, what? Yeah.
Okay, so you tell us how you were on a certain section of the shooting for MI3. Is that right?
Yeah, I did all the U.S. filming.
I shot in California. Is that right?
Yeah, it was all in L.A. And they started in, I think the whole thing started in Italy, where they did all the Vatican stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like in line to get on it because I had oh God, where do I start with? This is so convoluted. So the focus puller on the movie was my father's cousin was married to his father, who was a famous camera operator. He was a DP a few times. He shot some stuff. Right. But his son was a focus puller and operator. So they were trying to get me on the movie, and then when they were in Italy, one of the camera guys twisted and broke his ankle. So they were down a guy, and they were like, "This is it. Get ready to come aboard."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then when they started shooting in California, you were there the whole run.
Yeah.
They were doing a lot of stage work, and they did the factory that's in Berlin. They shot that, I think, in where was that? I forget the name of the town.
Towards Palm Springs, right? The wind.
It was by the windmill.
You were on that section.
They were. I think that was second unit because we did inserts on the stage with a huge elevated like helicopter chassis thing.
Oh wow! Okay.
That was up on way up on on like an elevated stage thing.
Oh, cool.
But that was down on a stage in Palmdale, where that was a day we had two units going at the same time. There was first unit in one hangar. It was like airplane hangar things. So there's one unit going in one and one unit going in the other one, and I had to run shit back and forth between the stages. And it doesn't. They're so massive you can't tell how far away they are. Like they don't look that far, but like you just keep walking and they don't get any closer. It's it's like 2 football fields.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a great day. Like running film mags between those two stages. It was like that was a workout. That was fun.
They were shooting in Calabasas. The whole bridge they shot outside.
Yes.
Were you on that part of the shoot?
Dude, it was out in the middle of a field. Like I'd never been on a big movie. Like this is the first thing I ever worked on. I went from film school to this in upstate New York. It was crazy. So they had this huge part of the bridge built in the middle of a field, and they just green screen the rest of it. And you watch the movie, and you cannot see a stitch. Like you would never ever know they did not shoot it.
The work is
unbelievable.
Amazing.
That's like ILM's best stuff.
Yeah,
they
it's
put an ocean in there. How high off the ground was the bridge?
Oh, it was flat. It was right on the ground.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because it does feel like it's kind of an arched thing when you see it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, there might have been like a little hill in the middle, but it was flat to the ground. And there was rattles. They had signs like "Do not wander off any of the path" or "Don't go too far off the bridge set" because there's like rattlesnakes everywhere. It was crazy.
Is this in Calabasas?
Yeah, Calabasas. Yeah. It was way up. It was way up in the hills. It was over like kind of by the Las Virgenes exit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the vibe on set generally? I mean, was it really hectic? Was it stressful? It was pretty relaxed.
It was long days, but it was generally fun, and most of it was because of Tom and JJ. Like they're like such upbeat dudes.
Yeah.
Like Tom, I don't know what he has, like endless, boundless energy. Like he's always like 100. He's like a superhuman. I couldn't believe it. Like I'm so like unprepared for this. Like he's so like dialed in and focused all the time. He's like always like smiling, I saw him mad like maybe twice the whole thing, and I spent like 16-hour days with him for like 3 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'd love to hear some stories if you have any from things that happened with him, or what were the times that made him upset, or you know.
The only time I remember him being upset was one day. There was days where if there was, especially on stage, if there's a lot of effects work and green screen, they'd have to bring in these like ILM guys, and there'd be really long setups in between shots. And there was this one dude, he had a job that was called Matchmaker, and he would walk around with this big, he had like a staff with like a big like globe on the top of it.
Oh, and it's like silver. And
and he would just stand there for like 5 minutes at a time, and just like, no one knows, but I'm like, he probably makes out like 20 grand, like 50 grand a week or some shit for doing this. All he does is stand there and hold a pole or something. I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but like that guy's doing better than me as the camera PA.
So was it like a restlessness about wanting to shoot? Is that what?
Yeah, well, there would just be really long dips in between. And I know one time, one of the camera assistants, who was a shorter guy, went to sleep underneath. He's so little, he fit underneath one of the camera carts, and he cleared the bottom off and went to sleep and took a nap. And Tom walked on. He was not happy. He walked on stage and he's like, "Who is that guy?" He's like, "Why is that guy sleeping?" He's like, "I'm paying. I'm a producer and I'm paying for all some of you guys sleeping on set." And he was like, "That's really inappropriate." We were like, "Oh shit!" He got in trouble for that. And my boss is like, "Oh,
probably shouldn't be sleeping on the job."
No, well, I think what we've heard from everyone that's worked with him is like, you kind of have to elevate your, output and enthusiasm to his, to be able to, get things going.
With how much he puts into it, he expects that from you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you get the sense that, was the script kind of like pretty much intact throughout filming? Because, one of the things about this franchise is things always seem to be kind of in flux, story-wise. Mm-hmm. Was that the case on this one?
It seemed like it. I read the sides every day just because I'm a massive film nerd. And all this stuff was new to me, so I couldn't wait till I just stuck my nose in everything that I could.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they stayed pretty close to the script.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seemed like that. Maybe that one was the one that kind of...
It seems like it.
Yeah.
But at this point, our making of MI3 will be out, and it seems like from that, like it seemed like the production was the smoothest of any of the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you get to see some of the? Did you see any of the stunt work? And did you see him like do that? Okay.
Yeah. There was. They had. Do you guys know who Vic Armstrong is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So he was on set, and they were like, "That's Vic." And I knew his name just from growing up, just from Indiana Jones, and I was like, "Oh my God, Vic Armstrong!" So he was like in charge of the whole stunt team. I think Tom had 2 stunt double. He had a stand-in and he had a stunt double. And they both looked like him. And any chance I got, I bothered Vic Armstrong. I think he hated me. It got to the point where if he'd see me coming over, he'd just be like, he'd just kind of start walking away. And I'm like, Vic, can I just ask you about like Temple of Doom? This one, it was like, going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he stood in for James Bond also.
Yeah,
right?
he did all those.
He's got great. Did you read his book?
No.
What, really?
Yeah, he wrote a book. Yeah,
Oh,
I have it in Connecticut. I gotta bring it out.
I'm getting that for sure. Yeah, he was awesome.
Do you have any favorite memories from set?
Oh my God, the coolest part was like, they were still casting it as it was going. Mm-hmm. So every Monday you'd get the call sheet and you'd be like, "Oh my God, Lawrence Fishburne!" Like I'd never seen any of these people. I was like losing.
Yeah.
Like I went from film school to like I'm the biggest film nerd I know. I just moved out. I didn't even know what I was going to do. I moved out here just to work in movies. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I get on is like a $60 million Tom Cruise movie, for Christ's sake. So every day there was this new kind. And then like Philip Seymour Hoffman, I lost my mind. I was like, "Oh my God," because like Magnolia is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And now we got Phil Parma and Frank T.J. Mackey back.
That's true.
Yeah, which I actually mentioned to Tom, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's right!" Like he didn't even think of it. It was cool.
He didn't think of the reunion.
Yeah, he didn't even remember. I guess I think it was like the first day he was on set.
Oh wow!
But yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like psyched.
So were you on the MI headquarters kind of set?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
wow, it's the first person
IMF headquarters.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was awesome. It was cool. There was most of my job was running film mags from the camera truck where they load onto the set. That's mostly what I did because no one else. They're heavy and shit. And I was like 25 and I was just like they're like, "Oh, we'll get this big lug to carry all our heavy shit,"
right.
Which I didn't care. I was happy to do. You get on the stage door at the on the set where the IMF headquarters was, and you'd come in and the set or the scene they were shooting was all the way on the far side of the stage with like all kinds of walls in between. And Lawrence Fishburne's voice carries like I've never heard another human. Like comes from like the bowels of hell.
Right.
Like you can feel his voice through the floor. Like he's a very stentorian man. I was like, oh my god, he's just a big. He could be like a wrestler.
Right.
He's a giant dude with broad shoulders and like his voice is unbelievable. Like I could hear every line. You can only hear him talking. You hear Billy Crudup and but all you hear was Lawrence Fishburne's voice. You can hear every word. It was unbelievable.
So you worked with someone who we would love to get on the show, Dan Mindel. Right.
Oh yeah.
He's one of our favorite DPs. So what was it like working with him?
He is such a nice guy. He's the coolest.
Really?
Yeah. He like showed me all kinds of stuff. I ended up working with them after for like a while. I would go to if I was in between film gigs and stuff. Even if I was like I was a second AC or like a loader. But if I didn't have any gigs, I'd just be sitting home collecting unemployment. And if they couldn't get me on a shoot, I would just go with them just to hang out. Like they'd shoot commercials, and I would just go and just hang out all day and just camera pay for them like for free.
Wow.
Because like they were just so fun. Like he's just like the coolest guy. He's like so straight ahead and like just not a dick. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Did they talk to you about like the look of the movie? I mean, did you kind of get into that?
I learned this lesson very early, and I've been in this industry ish like 15 years, and like I don't want to be a cinematographer. Like I've worked with cameras the whole time, and I like cinematography, but when you start talking to guys like Dan's level, they start getting into like science and stuff. I don't even know. I can't follow. They start getting into like LUTs and like post stuff with like pushing the negative and like colored like degrees, just crazy stuff that I don't like. I would read American Cinematographer and I liked all that stuff, but I didn't know practically how any of it worked. And I'd ask him a question, and he would just go on for like 5 minutes, and I would feel I'm just like yeah. I have no idea what he's talking about. It was brutal. I just kind of like pretend like yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we need some more Tom Cruise stories. Favorite memories.
He can run.
Does he know your name?
He did. Okay. This is like how crazy this is. So we wrapped right before Thanksgiving, and then they went to China to film all that stuff. We came back I only talked to him a handful of times ever. You know, because I'm just, I'm like low man on the totem pole. I'm like nobody special, but he remembers everyone's at the grips. Everybody knows all their names. We break for like 2 months. We come back at the end of January for reshoots, and he walks on the stage and he goes, Luke. Like, you still remember my name? And I was like, oh my God. Like Darth Vader. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, remember my name. You probably heard these stories, but before every, especially action take, he does, they bring an exercise bike for him everywhere. So before every take, he like rides his ass off.
What?
On exercise. Oh, yeah.
I have not heard that before.
Oh, yeah. They bring it. Locate Calabasas everywhere. They always have his bike standing
stationary.
by. Yeah, and then you ever heard about the jumping rope?
So wait, does the exercise bike, is that to like get his heart rate going before
he gets off and
before a
just
take he can be like he's been running a lot or something?
Yeah, he gets all worked up. And then the jump rope is the other one. You ever heard about the jump rope?
No.
Oh my God, because I read Kevin Pollak's book because he worked with him on A Few Good Men. And it was so great reading it because it came out a couple of years after I did Mission Impossible, and I was like, oh my God, like I know all these stories. Like I have never seen anyone jump rope faster than this guy. I'm not even kidding. Like you can't even hear. It's not even making a noise anymore. Like, you can't even see the rope. It's just like there's just like a breeze hitting you. You're like, well, that must be Tom's rope. He can jump rope so fast.
He's scamming you. He has no rope. He's just just spinning it, making you think that he's doing.
It was an ILM effect. Yeah, right there on set.
But was that a between take thing also? Jump rope.
But
So it was either exercise bike or jump rope.
Yeah, exercise.
Was that to pump up his adrenaline for action scenes, or did he do it just for like a dialogue scene?
Not so much for dialogue, but if there's any kind of, because you know how much he runs.
Right.
He runs a lot. So if there's anything like that, he would get all pumped up before. And I could not believe how fast he could jump rope. It was like terrifying.
Was there like a specific, when would he jump rope and when would he exercise bike? Like was there a...
I remember the bike more on set at Calabasas for some reason. It was one like elliptical one where the arms go too.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And you would pedal his ass off. But yeah, anything involving any kind of action. But he can run so fast. My boss was telling me because I didn't get to go to China. But that scene where he's running down the canal, they had I think that was the early days of Spider Cam, on those wires. Mm-hmm. They said they had it at full speed and they could barely, he ran so fast he was running faster than the Spider Cam.
Yeah. Wow.
And it goes like 25 or 30 miles an hour.
That's what Brian Bird was talking to us about, the dune buggies that they had shooting on Ghost Protocol and talking about calibrating the speed.
Yeah.
He just keeps going.
He can really
always
run,
goes
man.
faster than the dune buggy.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
But the chase, the Hong Kong chase was here, right? When he's under the truck and all that.
No. Oh yeah, that was. Yeah, it was downtown. Yeah, they dressed it up and they replaced the signs with like Chinese letters and stuff like that. Yeah, that was downtown.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was overnight.
So what were the reshoots?
We had to do. There was some stuff where remember that montage where he's with what's her name in the movie?
Michelle Monaghan, Julia.
Yeah, her. There was some stuff where there like some domestic stuff on a house set they built in the middle of the stage. They wanted some of that, some more like character stuff. But then I remember.
What's your favorite stuff in the movie?
It's not my favorite.
Yeah. Well, luckily for you, they
Just
shot
to
a lot more of that,
clarify,
and it turned into just like a little montage where they just skim over it.
Oh,
So
so
you
they
don't
shot
really see it.
actual scenes of that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was one scene where they're in like a bathroom having. There's a whole dialogue scene between them, and they're both in their underwear, and we're setting up. Tom's in like a not like a Speedo, but like like kind of like tighty whitey things, and they were black, and she's in like her, like what she'd wear to bed. So they're setting up the scene, and in between the break, I had my first ever second AC days on like a. It was actually the kid from Jurassic Park directed a short, and I got to work on this in the.
Oh yeah, Joe Mazzella.
You know him?
I saw that in your credits. Yeah. Joe's a friend of mine. Yeah, I went to USC with Joe.
Did you work on Matters of Life and Death? Was it?
No, but I visited the set.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was there.
Just came by.
That's amazing. Another one where the second twisted her ankle and broke it. So I stepped. I was just a camera PA, and they were like, "You want to be second?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I got to do work the slate and all that. So I'm telling my boss, I'm like, "Yeah, I got to put down marks, and I was a second for the first time, and I figured out how to do all that. It was a lot of fun." He's like, "Yeah, why don't you go put down marks for Tom and Michelle while they work this out?" And I just kind of laughed, and he was like, "No, I'm serious." He's like, "Go in there and mark them for us." And I was like, "Oh my god!" So they're in this like bathroom now, like.
And put down marks just for people who don't know film. Might just explain what that is for
focus. Like when you do a scene, you rehearse it before, and then you put down toe marks with tape, so the focus puller knows where to hit focus marks throughout the scene.
And you have different color tape for different actors, so that they know which one corresponds to them. And
yeah. So I'm in there trying to. It was a lot easier on Joe's set, and there obviously there was less pressure.
Right.
So I'm in there with JJ, him, and her, just me, and like the whole crew's watching. And I'm like down on the floor, like I got Tom Cruise's crotch in my face. I'm like, oh my god, like this is insane.
I've made it. I finally made it.
Yeah, no.
Usually that's the first thing that happens before you get into the industry.
Yeah. And I'm crawling around, and like they're going through it so quick. He's like, well, maybe you two stand over here. And then I would already had the marks down, and then he grabbed them and moved them over a couple feet. And I'm looking over. I'm like, do I put new? Because I'd done it a little bit, but I don't know how like really technical. I'm just like putting them down everywhere. I got like a huge roll of tape. And I'm just like, like I didn't even know how to dog gear the tape really yet. Yeah. I was putting it all over the place, and they were like laughing their ass off. But they loved throwing me into stuff like that. It was great. They didn't care.
Well, but people have also said that that's kind of like the benefit of being on one of these sets is that Tom is like the voice of God. Like whatever he says goes. You want to put that mark there, you do it. And it was that kind of comforting, just knowing like, okay, whatever this guy says, that's what I got to do.
They didn't even acknowledge that I was there. They weren't even paying attention to me. I was just kind of crawling around putting down. I think they were like, who the hell is this guy? Like, right. I mean, they knew I was from camera department, or whatever. Right. No, they weren't even really paying attention. They were just kind of.
Would they do private rehearsal first, or was it like they were rehearsing and working out the scene in front of the whole crew?
I think it was like a little bit more of a limited crew, if I remember. Yeah. But there was that they built this. It looked like this almost. They had a set of the whole house on the stage.
Yes.
And the longer days we'd be shooting on stage, whenever especially like the production department, the PAs and stuff, if people were out partying a little bit, they would fall asleep all inside. If you walk through that house set with a flashlight, you'd find like 6 PAs sleeping all throughout that house. Sleeping. I literally passed out in their bed, in the Tom Cruise bed of his house. It was awesome.
So was there any acknowledgement of what the rabbit's foot was on set between people? Did you ask JJ?
No, I couldn't. Because I never read the whole script at once. I would have the sides, but I couldn't really figure it out either. And it just turned out to be like kind of a pointless MacGuffin. It was just like, okay. Yeah.
But referenced later in the movie, so yeah.
What was it like working with JJ? Did you interact with him much?
I would talk to him here. If he was standing by himself, I think the first time I ever talked, because I didn't watch Lost or anything, I never heard of him, but I looked him up and I knew that he wrote Regarding Henry, which I loved growing up. And I think the first time I ever talked to him, I was like, I love Regarding Henry growing up, man. I was like, remember that part with he was like standing by himself, and I was like, remember that part where Harrison Ford goes, why don't we just make one big cookie? I'm like, me and my brother did that, and we learned that from that movie. We made one big giant thing in a cookie pan, and my mother screamed at us, and he's laughed at us. I was like, that's great. Yeah. He was so cool. He was like so approachable. He was just like a fun-loving dude. I think he was going through a divorce at the time too, but he was in a good mood the whole time.
Yeah.
Or he was about to, or something like that. I remember something going on, but he was still pretty damn cheery. Yeah. I loved him. He was awesome.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
We'll never have
He's
him
a
on the show.
he's a
probably.
funny guy.
No, I think
he
once
might.
he's done with Star Wars, we'll get him. We'll eventually get him.
Yeah, because he has such a slow tempo. If he's not doing something.
Yeah.
No.
I think when we break into Bad Robot to steal those hats,
Yeah, that's a good time to
that's
do
when
it.
we'll get him. We'll bring him with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do
He
you
had
have
the coolest
anything?
swag.
You have any?
Did you get any swag?
I got a cool Panavision jacket, like a North Face kind of one.
And does it say it has MI3 on it?
Yeah,
or
it's got
something?
on the back behind the. I should have brought it. On the back, it's got the MI3 logo.
Ooh, send us a picture of it when you get a chance. It would be awesome.
What was the code name for this one?
Heyday.
Heyday.
Heyday. Okay.
So that was before
So this is before the Aries.
Yeah.
Taurus, Gemini.
Oh, is that what he did for later?
That's what they're doing now for all the last
Corey
3
ones,
movies
yeah.
have been.
Oh, no.
I guess they started with the bird. Yeah,
The
the
bird,
bird
yeah,
was
it's
Aries.
Aries.
Yeah.
So this is Heyday.
Heyday. Yeah.
Heyday. That's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what it was in reference to, but
No.
All right.
Throwing people off the scent. Do you have a favorite sort of like day on set or moment on set?
Yes.
Okay.
the best was halfway through, because we had. This seemed like it had particularly long, even for like a feature. I mean, I didn't know because this is my first feature, but like people were just always grousing about how long the days. They were like 15, 16, 17-hour days, like a lot, like all the time. And there was one day like we had like a really like grinder of a week, and then we broke for lunch, and they're like, "Oh, we got something special for you guys." So they walk us all the way at the Paramount lot. We walked like 3 stages down, and they had this huge like steak and lobster dinner thing for us with this huge MI3 ice sculpture.
Wow.
Thing. It was awesome.
What was the ice sculpture of? The
Just
letters
the MI3.
MI3?
Yeah, like the logo.
Yeah.
So they had this huge screen in there, and then they showed us like an assembly edit of a trailer. So we got to see
That's
some
so
of the footage.
cool.
But like Tom paid for like the whole thing. It was like steak and like really good steak and lot. It was
Wow.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like wow, I was like, this guy's great. But he always had like coffee trucks on. So like I guess he paid for all this stuff. He had an In-N-Out burger truck come all the time. And
Yeah.
Oh, one time he had sushi. That was the first time I ever had sushi in my life. Never had sushi before. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
Tom Cruise introduced you to sushi.
He did.
Few people can say that.
Yeah, he did.
Before we ask you to rank, because that's always our final
Yeah.
question, I just want to ask quickly what it was like working with Robert Elswit on Red Belt.
It was cool. He's like another guy who's like so focused and dialed in. Like he's just constantly walking around like looking at lights and stuff. Like he's just never like he's super dialed in. He's hardcore. But I was surprised how much, because I'm a huge David Mamet fan too. I couldn't believe I got to do it. I was like, I'm on a David Mamet set with Robert Elswit
That
as
is
the
so cool.
DP. Like I wrote papers about both those guys in film school, both of them. And I'm like, and now I'm on set. And it was only like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But
It's an underrated movie.
I love
Red
that
Belt.
movie.
Yeah.
Tim Allen's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did like a week, and it was most of the stuff in the with the main fight at the end. And it was all
cool.
shot in that Long Beach. It looks like a big golf ball or whatever. It's like Long Beach Athletic Center or something like that.
Right.
I'd never heard of it until I got there, but I was surprised how much he kind of helped direct. Like he would tell, like David, like Matt would be like, I think we should have him do this. And he's like, well, you should probably have him do this. And Matt was like, okay. He just went along with whatever he said. But like Elswit stepped in a lot.
Yeah.
He gave kind of a lot of direction. It was pretty interesting. I was like, wow.
That's
He seems
cool.
to kind of have that
He's-
role.
Yeah, he's been around for so long and
Yeah.
has so much knowledge. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Was there anything else besides
it.
that reshoot scene that you remember shooting that didn't end up in the movie?
For which? For MI3?
For MI3, yeah.
Not really. I think it all went in. Yeah. You know what's crazy? We broke right before Thanksgiving when they were gonna leave, and that whole part downtown where he's walking through the he's looking for Phil Seymour Hoffman. And he's walking through like that little area. It was all built on a set, massive, huge stage where it looks like outdoor streets.
At the very end.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it looks like they're in China, but that's actually all on a stage. And the part where he pushes them and they go out the door, it cuts from that stage to actual street that they're on where he gets hit by the car. Spoiler alert! Hits by the car. It cuts from right there into China. That was
Perfectly.
yeah. It was really cool. I was
Seamless.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't even tell. It's like he pushes them out. I just love that.
Yeah, they
the
talk about-
shoe comes landing.
Yeah, in the commentary, Cruz and JJ like really pinpoint exactly what is staged and what is not. It's really interesting to see that in the movie. It's
Yeah.
And I mean, did you get any impression that Philip Seymour Hoffman was dealing with stuff? I mean, he died not that long after MI3.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This wasn't too.
He was not a terribly friendly or approachable guy. A lot of people. I remember the set photographer hated him and said he was like the worst guy he ever worked with. He hated his guts.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he just probably didn't want to be in the
didn't want-
pictures
Yeah, I got so many Phil Seymour. Well, one time we were done with his scenes for a while, so he was off for maybe like a month, and he showed up one day to visit the set, and he was like in his pajamas, and I think it was weed. He smelled like weed. He was baked out of his mind, and his eyes were so bloodshot. I mean, he was in such a good mood that day. He's like, hey, and he's like, came to set, and he's like, hey, man. He like never really talked to me or anything. I was like, what's up? And I was like, oh my God. Everyone's like, Phil's here, man. I think he's stoned.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was interesting, but he wasn't very friendly. And then when they were doing the fight scenes at the end, he was like, he smoked like a chimney. Like he was constantly, anytime we caught, he was outside smoking. He was in really like bad physical shape. So when they were doing all those fight scenes toward the end, like the first day they really started getting into it, he would do this like hacking wheeze thing after they caught that was so bad. Like, Phil, you all right? Like I think they were getting ready to like give him oxygen. So after like just a couple takes, he was so bad at it they brought in a stunt double for almost all that stuff. Like he barely did any of it. He couldn't handle it.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, he couldn't breathe. Like he'd run out of breath like nothing. And we just like really loud. Like when you take Darth Vader's helmet off, the whole set was like, oh my God, is he all right? Like Jesus.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of a mess. Yeah.
Now, was any of the Vatican stuff shot here, like the bathroom stuff, or any of those inserts, or was that all in?
I think that was all. I think that was all there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When I started, when they got back, it was all down towards San Bernardino by that. There's like that huge Miller Lite factory.
Yes.
I know over
which
there.
they shot Star Trek at.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
the big. Sort of silver silos.
I think that one's in Van Nuys, though, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. That might be in that one. Yeah.
This is the other one that's like on like when you're heading towards like Vegas or whatever.
Oh, okay.
On the 5 or something. But that's where I started. And I think that's where they first started the U.S. filming.
Okay.
As far as I know.
So did you work with Simon Pegg at all?
I did. Yeah. Okay. This is a good story. So I was just thinking about this yesterday because we were watching Zodiac at work, which is like my favorite.
We love that movie.
It's my favorite Fincher. I'm not a big Fincher fan, but I love Zodiac to death.
It's an amazing
We're big
movie.
fans of that movie.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
It's so good. It looked that Viper Cam. We were talking about. We're like, what happened to the Viper Cam? We all went on like a Google search because it looks so good. It's like amazing
For that movie.
Yeah,
I think they shot
Miami Vice too.
Miami Vice, and I think The Box was shot on Viper. The Richard Kelly movie.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
But the scenes, all the San Francisco Chronicle scenes in Zodiac, were filmed at the it was a Grand Union. What's that? The old bus station downtown, Grand Central or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Downtown Station. No, I'm not sure what the.
I forget what it's something station. It's like it's been there forever. So they were filming upstairs, and we were filming downstairs. The whole scene where Simon Pegg explains the rabbit's foot thing was shot. I don't know why, but we were all shooting in this building. All our trucks, so like both productions were like mingling together. We were always
that's interesting.
interacting. Yeah.
Paramount must have gotten a deal on the lease or something.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was
So
weird.
Did you interact with some of their crew as well? Their cast and crew?
Yeah, there was one time where it was such a tight space up there, we had to go to 400-foot mags to go like handheld with the cameras, and they just started rolling more and more dialogue. Like, I guess, I don't know, no one was ready for this. So camera departments are freaking out, and they're like, we're like, you got to start running these mags. We were burning through film like crazy because they can only fit the smaller mags on the camera. So I'm like running just constantly from the truck back upstairs. And like for a long stretch of it, it was I guess Robert Downey Jr. and what's his name smoke a lot too, Gyllenhaal. Mm-hmm. So they're outside smoking. They're just watching me like constantly like, run back and forth. And at one point, I was like waiting for someone else to come through the door. And Gyllenhaal goes, why don't you have them switch to digital? You won't have to run like this anymore. I was like,
That's
awesome.
so funny because he was not happy about digital on Zodiac.
Really?
Yeah, he said that. He told the New York Times that it was like Fincher was painting with actors in it. He said it's hard to be a color.
Oh.
So, yeah.
But he's also since backtracked a bit too, and said in his in more recent times,
yes,
that he really appreciated that shooting that movie and realized how
Yeah.
Is that the one where he would delete takes right on set? For
Yes.
Fincher always does that.
Yeah.
Yes.
The people,
He will say delete takes 1 through 17.
Oh my god.
In front of them.
Or 1 through 50 or 1 through 75.
That's great. But like the first day, Simon Pegg, and I knew like I wasn't like a fan of Shaun of the Dead. I was aware of who he was and stuff, but he showed up and I think he had this really long dialogue. It was like a whole page of just all this when he explains that rabbit's foot. It's like one take. And it's so much just like technological mumbo jumbo and stuff, and it's really long. So every time he didn't like know anybody. He would just kind of stand off by himself. And a couple times I was kind of standing next to him, and we were like, in between setup for another. I was like, yeah, that was really good, man. Like you nailed it. And then he was like, thank you. He's like, no one said anything to me. He's like, am I doing okay? He's like, does it sound natural? He's like, I'm really nervous. I'm like, no, you're doing great, dude. Because I've done some acting and stuff, and I'm like, that's a lot of dialogue. Right? That's a really rough scene. Yeah. I'm like, you're really nailing it. He's like, all right, thanks.
Oh.
So then after that, we start doing more and more takes. I swear to God, he kind of start walking over to him. He's like, how was that one? Was that one all right? I swear, it was awesome. I'm like, yeah, man, it sounded great. He's like, I stumbled a little bit in the middle. I was like, yeah, you did, but it sounded natural. You picked it up. I was like directing him and shit. He was super nice too. He was a sweetheart, but yeah, that was cool.
In the role that Ricky Gervais was supposed to play.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Apparently, supposedly.
Because he was on, Ricky Gervais was on Alias.
Oh, wow.
And,
no kidding. I never heard that.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
So, should we ask the big question?
The big whopper.
Can you rank your the Mission Impossible movies?
This last one was my favorite. I couldn't believe
Fallout.
I could not. I think they're showing it at midnight, and I was thinking about going to see it. So
We're going. Yeah.
Oh, you're going that way?
Yeah,
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
We're doing a meetup beforehand.
Yeah.
I might see you guys, or I might go.
Okay.
I saw that because I'm dying to see it again, man.
It's 35 millimeter too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's rad. Yeah, I could not believe how much. Because after the last one, like I liked them, but I'm just kind of like I've seen enough Mission Impossibles. Like I'm like, what else can they possibly do?
Yeah.
And then I saw the reviews for this one. I'm like, all right, I'll go. And even like 10 minutes in, I was like, oh my god, like this is like the best part 6 of anything I've ever seen.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's amazing how they keep reinventing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your number one.
That's my number one. I think for my own reasons, I guess part 3 is definitely my second favorite. Then the original, and then it would go Ghost Protocol. What's one before that one?
2.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's the only one you have left. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, 2 is dead. Everybody knows that.
Did you say Rogue Nation?
Rogue Nation. Yeah, that would go before Ghost Protocol, I think.
Really?
Okay. Or I'm sorry, Ghost Protocol. Then that one, then 2. That's probably my second.
So it's Fallout 3, first one.
Yep.
Ghost Protocol.
Yes.
Rogue Nation,
and
2.
then 2. Yeah.
2
is the only one.
Close to ours.
Yeah.
That's
2
cool.
is the only one I would really didn't care for at all. All the rest of them were like at least at best they were like good or good enough.
Yeah.
And some of them were like awesome. But,
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how different 2 was than the first one, but kept the momentum of the franchise going.
I mean, it was still the second. It's still the second most
second most
successful one,
successful,
right?
yeah.
At least domestically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never heard about that Oliver Stone one until I heard your show. Like that was a cool episode. I never knew about that. That would have been awesome.
It would have been something. I don't know if you would have had a third movie to work on if they had made that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, you know what? We've got to just say thank you so much for accepting this mission and telling us all these amazing stories. And you have anything you need to plug, or if you want to?
I have my own podcast, Live from the 405 podcast, where it's me driving around in my car, basically just ranting. It's like a mix of like Adam Carolla and Bill Burr.
Okay.
Wow. So you record in your car while you're driving?
I drive around, once a week. I do like an hour and a half.
Oh, so you do it. It's not like you're on the way to work. Like you do this, you go out to do it, to drive.
I used to live
specifically?
right here, and I work over by the airport. So every single day I had a 25-mile commute just one way out there. I used to live like right over here. So I had so much time in my car, and I would just get so crazy, just sitting in traffic every day because I'd be driving home at 5 o'clock. That I started doing it first couple of years that way, but now I go once a week, like somewhere. Or if they send me out for work, I take up my work truck with me and just do it there.
Oh, cool. That's cool. All right. Well, great. Everybody, check that out, and we'll be back next week. Charles and I will be yapping about something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks
for
so
having
much,
me, guys. Love your show. Thanks for having me.
So that was great, I thought.
Yeah. And people always talk about, as I said in the interview too, that they want to hear about all aspects of filmmaking. They appreciate that we do that, covering all these different crew members. So it's nice to hear from somebody who is in the camera crew. I always love when I'm working. I love working closely with the camera crew people. They're great people. Work really hard, and so it's cool to talk to Luke all about that.
Yeah, it was great.
So that means it's the end of 3-Pro.
Ugh, I can't believe it. It's gone by in a flash.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the end of all our MI3 stuff.
No,
Because
no.
I do want to tease that our Oscar winner that we spoke to, who's going to be on the show in a couple weeks, he worked on MI3.
Yeah, I mean, I was devastated to do this interview post 3-Pro, as you know.
I know, but that's okay. Anyway, yeah, well, you'll hear that. It's a really great interview. It'll be a 2-parter. Also, just want to say to check out our Patreon, and we're hoping to do our commentary for the first Mission Impossible. So for bonus content next month, if you sign up now, you would get our commentary for the first Mission Impossible, if we get to it. If we don't, sorry, I'm about to have a baby. Yeah. You're about to get married.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of life stuff, but
we are committed to doing the commentary. If it doesn't happen this upcoming month, it will be for June, but I think it'll be this month. And if not, we'll have bonus minutes of interviews and stuff, and there's going to be always bonus content if you sign up for our Patreon.
Yeah, I want to come over to your house and while the baby's sleeping, we'll just record the commentary very quietly.
We're both whispering.
Yeah. It's the only way it could get done. You people wanted it. This is the concession. Okay.
Yeah. Check out our Patreon. It's at patreon.com/LightTheFuse. And also, our first shirt design is out, so go check that out on the website and our merchandise section of our website, LightTheFusePodcast.com. And
is that it?
I think that's it for this week.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod, and email us questions or comments at LightTheFusePodcasts@gmail.com. If you'd like to watch the original Mission Impossible television show, all 7 seasons are currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.